In this tutorial, I want to look for just a moment at how you can use software and applications that are available to you to create simple wireframes of a conceptual design or a mock-up. And in Chapter 3 on page 85, I included this illustration, figure 3.14, as an example. This is an actual wireframe created for a client who was wanting to redesign their website. And if you go a little bit further down to the next page, this is the mock-up of that website. So the wireframe is sort of a skeletal view. It is used to help the designer present to a client ideas about how to divide the space up, how to actually create a grid for laying out the content on the page, and the basic structure. And this is a good starting point because before you begin to actually add color and real content, it's a good idea just to make sure that the client's happy with the overall layout and structure of a page. And that's really the purpose of a wireframe. And then when you get approval for that, you can go to the next step of putting in the more specific design elements, the actual images, photographs, text, and so forth. And at every step, you're getting the client to provide approval so that you can go to the next step. And at every step, the client and the producer will get together and they'll analyze whether it's a wireframe or a mock-up and talk about, what do they like, what do they not like. You might even want to bring in a sample of users at this point and get their opinion. And the more input you get into the early stages of a design, the more money you will save and time you'll save in terms of having to fix things later. So you're always trying to find ways for visualizing and getting the client to understand where the project is going. So a wireframe really is designed with that in mind. So real quickly, I'm going to jump over to Safari, and this is a website called Mockingbird. And this is no longer a free site, but you can come in for a fairly inexpensive amount of money. You can subscribe to this service, and this service provides online tools for creating wireframes, simple wireframes of a visual design. And it works very, very easily, and when the design's completed, you can then email the design, share it with others, put it online, and it becomes a really good interactive tool for discussing concepts with the client that you happen to be working with. And so just to demonstrate this, I have a main design window over here on the right that contains a visual image of an actual page. If I scroll down and hover over this bottom resizing handle, I can change the dimensions. I'm going to go ahead and make this a little bit bigger. We'll make it more like a real size web page. And I'm going to make the width 1000 pixels, and we'll go up and make the height 600. So somewhere about right in there. So this will make a 100 pixel wide by 600 pixel tall or high web page. And to add content into this web page to create the wireframe, I simply drag and drop content from this left-hand sidebar that contains various objects into the design window. So the first object I'm going to drag and drop is really just a boundary box for the page itself. And I'm going to drag that across the top of the page. And the next element, I'm going to start from the top and work my way down. And what I'm trying to do is recreate figure 314 in your book. So if you want to turn to that, it's not going to be an exact replicate, but just to give you an idea of how I could, as a designer, recreate this page and show it to a client and distribute it to them, and really how quickly this works. Of course, it's a lot faster when I have my own design. If I was designing with a team and being interactive, I might have to go through several iterations. But I'm putting in a horizontal button bar across the top for links, and I'm just going to label these with placeholder labels for right now, like they are on the in figure 314. We'll call this top. It's a top level link, something that you would normally see on every page of a related website to provide quick navigation back to the key pages in the site. Top link. And they have 4 of these located in the upper hand corner of the page. Okay, and these won't be exactly like what are actually shown. If I want to make it exactly like it, I can delete that one. And there is one that actually shows it as a link bar. And again, just the same idea here, and I'll try to do this a little faster through the magic of cutting and pasting. And that one looks actually a little bit closer to what's on the page itself. And I can expand it, change the size, the physical size, to make it appear as close as I possibly can. Now the nice thing is I'm not really designing the finished product at this point. I'm just designing a conceptual tool that the client can look at for the purposes of approval. And if the client likes this wireframe, then we can take the design to the next step and refine it and add to it. Okay, I'm going to look for some image placeholders to put into the design by dragging and dropping. Here's an image placeholder. This will be used really for the header. And we'll slide this and put this up top. I can use my arrow keys to nudge it to the right, to nudge it to the left. And I can put a text label in here as well. And I do have different categories here that I can do it. I'm going to go to the text category here and just find, there we go. I can add some text to this. I'll say main logo goes here. And this is really just an informational piece of text to remind us of what that image might actually be referred to. We'll bring that down a little bit. Bring that down a little bit as well. A little bit of white space. All right, we'll put another image back in here. We'll go back to all and a little smaller image this time for the weather module, which is going to go under my links bar. And the nice thing about this program, it allows me to do perfect alignment here. I can take that text box, copy it, and duplicate it. And we'll call this one weather module. And we'll put that one in over here. I've got a main horizontal nav bar. And we'll go ahead and add that here at the bottom. And this is where I'm going to add Explore Elements. Takes a little bit of time to type all these in. A home page button. Main link. And we end up with something that looks sort of like this. And I can drag and expand that across the page as our main nav bar for the page, for the site. I'm not real worried about colors at this point. I just want to show that that's what's going to go there so that people get that idea. We have a image then that goes beneath this that goes the full width of the page, or I should say the full width of the nav bar. And we'll just do a couple more things here. We'll put a text box over here on this side of the page. All right, and we can put columns of information and so forth. I'm not going to continue any further, but hopefully you get the point. This is a wireframe tool. It's a program called Mockingbird. It is no longer a free service. A lot of these online tools, many of them will have a free version that has limited sort of capabilities for you, and then you have to pay if you want the premium or advanced versions of the product and so forth. So take a look around. One of the easiest ways to find tools on the internet is simply to do a Google search for wireframe or mock-up tools, and you'll see all sorts of tools that are out there. You don't have to be this sophisticated. You could do this just in a design program like Photoshop, but a program like this is kind of handy because they've gone ahead and taken a lot of the main elements that you would typically find in a user interface or in a website and made those available as drag and drop elements so you can very quickly put together a wireframe and present it to the client.